It's a wonderful time to be a fan of the first Doctor. With the 60th anniversary just a few months away, there's never been a better time to be a fan of the very first incarnation of the Doctor since the last anniversary, 10 years ago. Luckily, I've got a few tips on how you can enjoy the first Doctor's era in the 60th anniversary of Doctor Who. And yes, I am parodying a video that's now roughly 9 years old and got parodied and replicated over the following 2 years since it came out, including by us. Well, it was either this or another First Doctor representation in Twice Upon a Time rant, Don't Tell Jenny. Right, let's do this. Number 1. Watch his stories. Over the course of his near 3-year run, the First Doctor had 29 serials from November 1963 to October 1966, plus a couple multi-Doctor adventures since. I strongly recommend watching An Unearthly Child Episode 1, the very first episode of Doctor Who. You don't have to watch the rest of the serial or the pilot episode unless you want to. The pilot episode would be because of historical significance, and 2, 3 and 4 if you want to be a completionist. But other than those reasons, you don't have to watch the rest of the serial or the original pilot episode. Just watch the first one. Other recommendations include The Daleks, the very first Dalek story, The Edge of Destruction to complete the beginning DVD box set and witness the character growth between the 4 leads, The Keys and Mariners, my favourite story from Season 1, The Aztecs, objectively the best story from Season 1 and the best pure historical story of the show. Also, Matt placed it as his crown jewel for Season 1, The Dalek Invasion of Earth, the second Dalek story, Susan's exit story, and voted number 1 First Doctor story by Doctor Who magazine readers and pollers in the 2023 Doctor Who magazine Doctor Who story poll. I am not kidding. This is the second biggest winner surprise so far after Genesis of the Daleks not winning the 4th Doctor poll. Note at time recording we are only up to the 10th and 11th Doctor results so far, so 12th and 13th Doctor ones are still yet to be announced. Anyway, the Romans. I'm not a fan of this story. In fact, I would even go so far to say it's my least favourite story of the First Doctor era. But I'm putting down Matt's Crown Jewels stories as recommendation viewing in this video, so it has to be included as a recommendation because Matt chose it as a crown jewel, so here you go. I hate having to do this, but I chose to include Matt's crown jewel picks as recommendations, therefore I have to mention every single one, which includes the one I not really like. Where was I? Oh yes. The Chase, my favourite story from Season 2. The real crown jewel of the season. Not that Roman story or whatever. The Time Meddler, the first proper pseudo-historical story. The War Machines, the best complete story from Season 3. We'll get to the actual best story from Season 3 later, but in terms of every single episode is here, this is the best one. And finally, The 10th Planet, the First Doctor's final story and the first story to feature the Sidemen. Sadly, episode 4 is missing, but thanks to animation, you can watch the final episode. It's very annoying that it's the final episode that's missing because it's William Hartnell's last episode as the Doctor, not including the 3 Doctors. And it sees the regeneration from the first to the second Doctors, alongside the fact that all of the second Doctor's first story is missing, and you've got probably the most frustrating 6 missing episodes. Speaking of which, unfortunately, like the second Doctor, the first Doctor had many episodes and serials that were junked by the BBC due to film space and not thinking that archiving them would be a beneficial thing and people would want to see these episodes again after first broadcast or overseas selling. But thanks to official and fan reconstructions and animations, there are a couple more stories you can check out that are not entirely complete, if even at all. So here's a couple more suggestions for reconstructions or animations, official and fan-made, for you to enjoy. Plus, you can also listen to the full audio soundtracks of every single missing episode. So there's also that. So first of all, we got Marco Polo, the fourth story of the show, Matt's runner-up for Crown Jewel Season 1, and probably the first proper historical after An Unearthly Child. And it's also a very popular one with the fans, and it's one of the ones that they want back the most these days. There's also a really great colour reconstruction by Loose Cannon on Dailymotion, if you can find that. It might even be the only colour reconstruction made by Loose Cannon. The Crusade, which got a reconstruction for the latest Season 2 Blu-ray box set. The Daleks Master Plan, which is my favourite First Doctor story, as well as the best story from Season 3, and also Matt's choice for Crown Jewel Season 3. I'm not sure what his runner-up was. It might have been The Massacre. Speaking of The Massacre of St. Bartholomew's Eve. It's really good. And The Celestial Toymaker. It's also really good. Also, if Neil Patrick Harris is indeed playing the Toymaker, this is required viewing. Well, episode 4 and the reconstructions of episodes 1, 2 and 3 at least. Also, in case Benny says anything, I better mention the Savages and the Smugglers as well. Just to make him happy and make sure he doesn't come after me. Also, if you want to see a fully animated story featuring the first Doctor, I recommend Galaxy 4, specifically the 2021 animated edition. And for multi-Doctor stories, I will recommend the 3 Doctors and the 5 Doctors. Yep, that's it. He didn't appear in any other multi-Doctor story. Nope, no, that was it. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to be level with you guys. Don't watch Twice Upon a Time if you want a good representation of the first Doctor. Just don't. But watch An Adventure in Space and Time instead. This is a really great docudrama, by the way. I really, really recommend checking this out as well. Or the Saving Gallifrey scene in The Day of the Doctor. Or the On the Edge scenes from The Power of the Doctor. Or Dinosaurs on the Spaceship, because David Bradley. And he's much better there than in Twice Upon a Time. Not as good as Adventure in Space and Time or Power of the Doctor. Better than Twice Upon a Time. So, just anything other than Twice Upon a Time. Just please. You can watch it for a 12th Doctor marathon, but when it comes to First Doctor ones, just skip it. You can watch the ending of The Doctor Falls if you want, but that's it. Actually, whilst you're at it, watch the Series 10 finale instead. Number 2. Read the books and short stories. The First Doctor has had many adventures in print ever since the second year of the show, when the first Dalek story was novelised. This is a, of course, later edition. Specifically in 2011, and featuring the Target novelisation style art cover. But the original came out in 1964, and ever since then there's been First Doctor story novelisations, and later original stories in prose media, such as books and short stories. My favourite First Doctor novel is, of course, one that came out in 1964 itself, written by legendary and also very controversial author Ian Fleming, You Only Live Twice, which saw James Bond sent to Japan to investigate... Wait. So you can sit back, relax, and just read the exciting adventures of the First Doctor beyond the screen. Just imagine William Hartnell in your head as the First Doctor whilst reading it, and you'll be fine. Wait. Hold on, what's this? This isn't 10 Swadians, this is... The Gunfighters DVD booklet? How did that get in there? I wasn't even reading 10 Lithuanians, so I wasn't using this as a bookmark. I don't even use these as bookmarks, I've got proper ones. What the fuck is going on? Number 3, listen to his audios. Even though William Hartnell passed away in 1975 and didn't really do much audio or radio play stuff for the Doctor during his time, audiobooks and audio dramas featuring the First Doctor have still been produced ever since. As well as audiobooks of the written books and short stories, our biggest contributioners are Audio Go, which mostly do audiobooks featuring the Doctors, although I'm not sure how many First Doctor ones they've done, and of course Big Finish Productions. Big Finish are of course famous for giving past Doctors brand new life in audio dramas and occasionally audio books, and sometimes somewhere in between, like the Companion Chronicles for example, are kind of between audiobook and audio dramas. And the same could be said for the first, second and third Doctor stories before they got impersonator actors in. In the case of the First Doctor, David Bradley was brought on board to continue portraying the First Doctor in brand new First Doctor audio dramas. Recently, Stephen Noonan took over as the voice of the First Doctor at Big Finish, has been doing further First Doctor adventures on audio ever since. Not to mention actors William Russell, Carol Ann Ford, Maureen O'Brien, Peter Purves and Annika Wells also voiced the First Doctor in ranges such as the Companion Chronicles, the Lost Stories and the First Doctor Adventures. Also taking part in ranges such as Short Trips, which are practically audiobooks. So snuggle down and listen to the First Doctor take on Daleks, Rocket Men, Vord and a Master played by A.T. Eref. And that person gets everywhere.
The sound of trumpets echoed up the misty valley. A harsh challenge, unworldly and defiant. The possibility of fresh snow spiced to the air. Leaning on his stick, the adventurer picked his way between the rocks and down the mountainside.
Hold on, was that Jeffrey Bayldon? I've got the wrong story. Number 4. Other media. Games, comics, interactive experiences, you name it, the First Doctor's been involved in a lot. Who's this? Hello? Fucking time wasters. Time meddlers, should I say. Number 5. How about cosplaying as the First Doctor? I did that for when I went to the BFI screening of The Time Meddler last October. Though, personally, I do think my second Doctor cosplay was better when I went to see The Abominable Snowmen at the BFI. But, whatever. Anyway, so, cosplay as the First Doctor, and maybe you could recreate some of your favourite scenes from some of your favourite First Doctor stories, or just go around pretending that you're the First Doctor, just like Will did when he dressed up as the 10th Doctor in that one video he made. Hello.
At last, I have you now.
Who is this?
Your worst nightmare.
I had a worst nightmare? When? And what was it?
Me.
And who or what are you?
Your worst nightmare.
Yeah, I got that. But exactly who or what is my worst nightmare?
Your worst nightmare.
I think we're done here, folks. Enjoy checking out some First Doctor adventures, and hope you enjoy the rest of Hartnell Month here on Universals. I need some time to think, excuse me. Well, that was abrupt. Something must have really spooked him. Probably just a bad opinion on Twitter.